I just forgot to do something, so we're gonna have to sit here for probably another 5 minutes, because I need to take out my garbage. Oops! Now we can begin. Now I have successfully taken care of that. Woo! Alright, stop the music. Turn on the audio capture. I want to check something here quick. Let's go on the album here for a second. I just want to check something. Yeah, so for the record, what I'm checking here is I have 3 different screens pulled up, and it's curious to me that actually my old computer screen is actually the fastest of the 3 screens at switching between these 2 images. That's weird. Alright, anyway. Open the correct game. Anyway, welcome back to Everything is Awful. And it's honestly all AZ's fault. Nothing new there in Kalos. Everything here is his fault in some way. You stub your toe, you fall off your bike, probably AZ's fault somehow. But well, such is the way of it, I guess. I just unironically tried to jump, by the way. Huh. That doesn't seem good. Where's my roll? This is no place to be throwing Pokeballs. What's our next move? Well, our next move is to clean up Urbane's absolutely having fucked it up. We stop the tower. Marie, can you hear me? Oh, I've really fucked up this time. I need, like, something that I can just, like, pick up and just throw right now. That's the situation that we're in here, is we're in, like, pick something up and throw it territory. Sir, you have destroyed a historical landmark and are in danger of destroying this entire city. Are you going to have any self-awareness? The answer is no. You're gonna call me and be like, the view's incredible up here. My mic is hanging low. Hold on. I have to move this thing in ages. There. I always knew the city was big. Seeing it like this, thinking of all the people going about their lives, I appreciate it more than ever. My dude, you're destroying it! Thank you, Lita. Backing up for a second. Glad you're alive. How are you not more scared right now? I know that's just the wind, but I love the little, like, vibration on his hair thingy that almost looks like barely restrained fury. Oh, it's trying to fire the death laser. We'll come save you. No, I don't care about him. He can die. I see Zygarde on a roof of the Magenta District. Is this a normal fight? Okay, this is indeed a normal fight. Do you mind dying already, Gengar? Are there multiple of them? Your idea is a chunk of concrete. You've got to be fucking kidding me. There is a monster like 10 feet to the right of you. This is not time for a strategy meeting. We'll take to the rooftops. It's easy. I mean, it's time to call in all our friends to deal with the Mega Evolved Pokemon for us. Oh, hi, Vinny. Thanks, Kanari. I'm glad someone in this city knows how to take action. Wait, where's Jacinth? There she is. Look, it's all the cooler characters in this game. Oh, that's a little fucked. Yeah, okay. I was actually getting a little nervous they were about to be like, go calm 3 rogue Mega Evolved Pokemon before we deal with the fucking tower. No, we are actually doing this intelligently. We're like, well, if we can't deal with all the little problems at once, let's just cut the head off the snake. Man, it's a good thing we're scattered so perfectly evenly around the city. In the next super tourney. Come from all walks of life, yet we cross paths simply due to the various ties to the city. That is kind of cool. I almost wish this game had spent some time looking at it. That's a neat concept. Unfortunately, Trusted L. Unfortunately, we have to shove these more interesting characters to the side so Urbane can fuck up more. They should have, at the end of the game, renamed themselves Team ZA. Just lean all the way into the fucking title drop. Can I roll again? Oh, good. Alright. Yeah, I think this is the right call. 2 out of 3 of them are weak to ice. He'd crush it with his giant fists otherwise. I don't have enough. Alright, Garchomp, you want a taste of me? Well, that's unfortunate. Alright. Let's deal with this situation, shall we? You've got to be fucking kidding me. These fights are actually bullshit. I think I actually would have preferred them just being like, go calm 3 rogue Mega Evolutions. These fights are just hectic bullshit fests. Oh no, more of them! It's time for you to say you'll hold them off. Yes! Bumper! Did I get a heal at least? Man, if it wasn't for the fact that, like, we know that Pokemon never has the balls to kill people, I'd be a little concerned here. Unfortunately, we all know Pokemon doesn't have the balls to kill people. Okay, I do still get a heal. Thank goodness. Throw me. Or we could just use the rubble to make a bridge. The lack of music is really underselling these moments. Wow, I didn't even let us linger on the fact that, ooh, maybe Gwyn's in trouble. No, she's just fine. There was never any doubt. If there was any doubt, you very quickly diffused it. Your fist bump isn't even real. We just hover-handed. Streamer ladies just ahead. Hey, it's that loser! Remember that loser? Okay, here there's only 2. Looks like Rogue Mega Evolution's really hurting them. They are effectively A-posing. Okay. They're not helping. They're just gonna build scaffolding. Yeah, you're here, Manny. You help us. This is actually an interesting duo. We gotta keep away from the Blastoise. Okay. Now we fuck up the Blastoise. ABC, always be casting. Alright, we got the Blastoise down. That's the important part. Do you just stop doing anything if I don't have a Pokemon out? No. Okay, you do keep doing something. Holy scaffolding, you guys are fast. Nobody needs a fucking challenge right now! Too bad! I'm old! Fuck you, you get a hover hand. Fuck you, nerd. Set your sights on the sky, kid. Damn, that would be cool if it had, like, triumphant music and maybe voice acting. Oh, well. Tight turns on this control scheme is not great. Never has been. Let's go low. I want that item. Place the max revive that I spent earlier. Sure. I actually cheesed that more than I thought I cheesed it. Looks like a dead end, he says, knowing full damn well he put items here. Alright, get to fighting, you guys. Trouble joining the chat. Oh my god, he stood up. Holy shit. A speedrun reference? So what is happening right now is... Hold on. Let me spin my camera around here. So what's happening is the Eiffel Tower has turned into a giant plant monster, and it's destroying the city. So all of the much cooler characters are teaming up to help us, like, basically circle around the city to actually get to the tower, because they have to make this as complicated as possible. Dragon and Steel. Bon, why are you here, though? Oh, hi, Jacinth. I think she just likes warping around at this point. The beautiful bump of her holographic fist. Alright, LeBon, let's do this. Go freak mode on him. I was gonna say, I don't care about how it's hurting them. Just go freak mode. Let's see. We definitely don't want Steel out. Alright. That was a double kill there. Yeah, that was much easier. Come on, don't give me a hover hands here. Fuck you, game. Fighting beside Jacinth is always a struggle. Because Jacinth wants you to be fancy, and I'm just like, go freak mode, go freak mode. Also, hi Jacinth. Alright, you two get to fighting. Oh no! They have sealed themselves in! If this was a franchise that was willing to kill humans, I would be afraid right now. Unfortunately, any tension this could have had was resolved earlier when Gwyn tried this trick and reappeared 5 minutes later perfectly fine. Wow, Purple really was just... No, my shopping district! I bought clothes here several times! Ne'er-do-wells have to show what they're really worth. Man, that could be a commentary on, like, the necessity of gray zones. If this were willing to be a little bit more mature. Of course they put these two together. I was gonna say when was the last time we worked together, and I remembered, oh yeah, during his arc. God. Now, how do we deal with this one? Oh, it has mystical fire, too. But that's fine, as long as it's gonna just keep... Oh, well, that's... Never mind, we're fine. I feel like these fights are getting easier, not harder. Oh, is it time for the memed upon moment of all time? Oh no, Philip is dead! No, all that tension was immediately resolved. So where's the ladder? Why don't I see one? Am I just an idiot who can't spot a big old ladder? Okay, that's oddly profound coming from a guy who looks like that. Close enough. Yep, there it is. The people ladder. We're one person short. Gee, I wonder if there's a certain short person we could put on top. This letter isn't going to last much longer. Nah, ouch! Ow! Good. Get him! So you can, by the way, fall down here, and he will get increasingly pissed off each time you fall down and have him rebuild the ladder. I'm not doing that, though. There he goes! Alright, here we go. Final destination. Not the movie. Shut up, Urbane. You caused this mess. I'm coming to fix this mess, and then I am going to fucking give you the reality check this narrative won't. Also, ad starting soon. Gee, I wonder if this is going to be with the Team MZ members. Oh, no, it's Grisham. Nice of you to finally show up. I am looking at the pose that his assistant lady has, and I am once again angry that I don't get to have, like, custom animations. You. You're dying. Right now. Somehow that didn't hit. Oh, that's right, because I'm a ghost type. Get fucked, dumbass. Wow, great hyper beam. I'm a ghost type. Joke's on you, I'm not out of ghost types yet. Can I pause, please? I'm losing Pokemon because I'm trying to fucking pause for the ads. Burn this thing down, please. Are there multiple Metagrosses on this field right now? I feel like there are multiple Metagrosses on this field right now. Alright. Here, let me quickly... Oh, the ads are done, but let me grab Irontail here. What do you mean he's not dead? Thank you. Many people liken the bitter depths of a fine roast to the nature of life itself. So what are you gonna do, huh? Hooray! Grisham has had a character development moment. I guess. The fucking apron is literally a Team Flare logo with the stylized N over it. I have just now noticed this. Anyway, I'm going to stop the tower, then punch Urbane in the face. Great idea. Army of bugs! Honestly, that's horrifying. If I saw that, I'd just decide my life is over now. Goodbye. Okay, that's a more I'll accept the hover hand. Alright, Zygarde, let's do this. I want you to note the final boss might start when I get up there, so let's make a point to use them if you got them. Unironically, I think I'm going to not use it on Gardevoir because Gardevoir is so close to leveling up. Remember when Floette almost killed those thugs using the Death Ray? He's gathered 99 Zygarde cells. The last one has been with you the whole time. I mean, frankly, I don't care about saving my friend. Floette even isn't necessarily my highest priority. The one that's been watching me the whole game that you thought was going to be important, but it's just a Deus Ex Machina! Floette is ready to destroy anyone who comes near it. I love when they do that fuckery with, like, the wants to battle text. Like the one with the Paradise Protection Program. Gee, I wonder if these are all type-based. Okay, no, it's typeless. Sure seems to me like the correct answer is just to hang out behind here and give orders. Especially because that one flower is just focused the fuck up on me. That was a little painful. Hold on. Let's deal with that. Give me About another 130. Hyper should be fine. Okay. Ooh, that's gonna suck. I have 1,000,000 potions. This is definitely not how this fight is supposed to go, I feel like. Okay, so I assume the idea is that you just have the 4 phases for each one of its attacks, basically. That's not good. That's very not good. That's the Death Beam. The Light of Ruin rains down. Hold on, let me go back to my safe spot. Really? This forces it to play the animation again? How did you take all that damage? Oh, whatever. Uh-oh. That was lucky. Alright, now we're just playing out of range of its attacks, so... Well, most of its attacks, anyway. Oh, it can actually do a Light of Ruin phase. Interesting. Alright. Light of Ruin rains down! That's so cool. Alright, that's fine. It places that zone as though it was going to do something for it. That kind of played a little, like, tennis there almost. Gathering power, but it ain't gonna get a chance to use it. Oh, okay, now you're gonna make me actually have to play the video game. Literally have, like, just enough health to survive that. You gonna try and hit me? Come on, try and hit me for once. Alright, there's another one down. Let's take a chance to heal. Oh. The light of ruin rains down! Oh, now you're gonna make me watch the animation again, huh? I love that the idea is you should be using your whole team here, but it turns out that Mega Frostlass just has the exact range to avoid most attacks. Well, I say that, but now it is dead. Well, I didn't mean to use you, but I guess I'm using you. Well, I'm not using you now. You're dead. Alright, send it back. Where are you? World's most awkward position, that's weird. You know what? Fine. Send in the ace. You put an end to Anja Floette's rampage. That's putting it lightly. I think we saved the city, Patrick. My fucking... Yeah, I knew I could do this. Face. Yeah, the cooler character squad. Notably not here, Urbane. I proceed to hang up the phone on Urbane. You didn't contribute to this. Thanks to the efforts of Team MZ, not including you, Urbane. Yeah, we're not going to the place that locks you in until you complete a tournament. I don't think we're done yet. I think it's time for phase 2. The phase it's a proper Pokemon battle. Something inside your satchel is shaking? The power is emanating from the pebble! Grip it tightly. Whoa, it's Zygarde! Who would have thought? Alright, it's time for a real hero to do hero shit. This is gonna be a Persona final phase, isn't it? Where I just push the win button. God, the LOD mountains. Blasted with your fucking missile! Yeah, it's just the, I don't like that that's called Nile Light, but alright, sure. Yeah, Alright, it's just the Persona final phase. You just push the win button. They're like, people like P5, right? Okay, that's fucking cool. If you could 3D model the buildings and do a shot like that, this would be perfect graphics for a Pokemon game. I'm just gonna say it. Urbane, you motherfucker! Slug him in the face! As far as I'm concerned, that's what actually happened. He looks so Play-Doh in this cutscene. We did it, guys. We invented Disney World. She really was just a completely irrelevant character in this game, huh? That they I was gonna be so disappointed if they didn't remix the XY credits for this. Man, I am looking at these and like the lighting in these is so much more dynamic than the actual game. Like, this ending, if you could just get actual 3D modeled buildings instead of, like, the city of, like, cubes. Like, I think the most frustrating thing about Pokemon is how close they constantly come to actually putting together a great game. Like, these scenes, again, if you just made like the city actually 3D modeled instead of comprised of cubes, with like this, even just this degree of graphical quality on like the lighting, like you can see the light, like the light rays coming off the truck. There's like actual like blur to effects going on. There's reflections. Like the graphics are almost there. They're still a little bit Play-Doh looking. But like, I think in some respects the Play-Doh look is just kind of what Pokemon is going for now. Anyway, is anyone gonna clean up this, like, twisted metal wreckage of what used to be a Pokemon gym? And, you know, National Historic Landmark? But that's just graphically, like... I want to believe eventually they'll figure it out. Graphically. Like, You have to... Oh, hey, look, they turned the fucking wreckage of a Pokemon gym into a wild zone. Like, that wasn't the most obvious thing that ever happened. Like, I want to believe they'll figure out the graphical stuff. I'm not going to over-belabor that point. But... Because at the end of the day, like, I don't think the graphics are why I would score this game poorly. Spoiler alert, I don't score this game that well. Like, I would... Some people are like, oh, this is one of the greatest Pokemon games of all time. No, I'd give it maybe like a 7.5. Like... I think Switch-era Pokemon, in general, has had kind of... 3 main, like, pillars of suck. Which, it isn't to say these things are all bad. Like, certainly the graphical quality has gotten better every game. Like, I was watching I Ate Your Pie go through Legends Arceus, and having been playing, you know, ZA, you realize Legends Arceus looks like ass. That game doesn't look good. But we all said at the time, you know, this is the best looking Pokemon game so far. They've been getting better. I'm concerned about the culling in Wind and Waves, but the graphical quality looks like it's another step up. They are making slow and steady progress graphically. Provided that they can make that progress to, you know, actual 3D modeled, like, environments with, you know, actual lighting, actual, like, blur, and not have it run at 10 FPS on the Switch, too. Also, post-credit scene, I assume. Right? Surely that's not just how it ends. That's a long-ass title drop. That is a still image. Yep. Wait. Wait, he fucking died? You didn't even have the gall to, like, have him, I don't know, fade away in a cloud of sparkles or something? He just fucking dies? As if this game can't get any more worse. You see him at the end of the game, and he's, like, on the roof, and he's like, as always, the choices we make today shape our tomorrow. I'm so proud of you. And then the next fucking scene, he's just dead. What, did he fall down the stairs getting off the roof? This game is shit. This game is ass. I wish I was playing Kingdom Hearts 3 right now. I'm gonna actually go post that. I'm actually just gonna post that. What the fuck do you mean you just off-screened AZ? I mean, to be fair, he did have the cough of impending anime death. And then there's Lysander, like, man, it sucks that I locked him in a jail cell that one time. By the way, apparently he's not actually missing that eye. Well, anyway, that's enough funeral. Let's go home and have a good meal. We've got so much left to take care of. It sucks that we were named the executors of his estate. Who owns the hotel now? Do I own it? AZ just walks out from behind the grave. His Floette isn't even dead. What the fuck? Some days later, your alarm is going off again. Who owns this place? I'm gonna walk downstairs just to see who owns this place. Yeah, also, why are we the one who's staying behind to be like, man, thanks for everything, AZ. You were so... What is this? There's a Pokeball containing a Lucario. Why? Why is there a Lucario here? There's a letter from AZ. Oh. I leave you my Lucario as a symbol of my gratitude and respect. This Lucario was given to me by a certain trainer who hoped it might be kept safe. If you should ever meet her, please tell her that I kept it with me until the end. I must tell you that I have found you to be a Pokemon trainer of the highest caliber. All my 3,000 years wandering this world. For the record, AZ just said we're cooler than Serena. I find so many memories flit through my mind now, at the end of things. From my mother giving me my Floette, grasping her rare black flower. Or the flames of war taking everything from me. I remember when that dark day fell over Galar. Hey, what the fuck? Wait a minute. Cool, I have a Lucario. Anyway. You forgot about the X and Y Protex, like everybody else. Yeah, it seems like it. So, like... If I got the Lucario, and I guess Urbane got Floette, who got the inn? Not after that awful battle with the tower and AZ dying. He fucking off-screened AZ. From the sounds of things, it wasn't even that, like, he disappeared in a cloud of dust at the end of the game after we beat his final mistake. No, man just fucking had a heart attack the next day. They did my man the dirtiest they've ever done anyone. Figure what I'm gonna do. Oh yeah, that's right, I get a wish. Hey, I finally went behind the desk. You'll never guess what I found back here. Is it his will? Thank you, Naveen! To Team MZ. You're reading this letter, that it would seem my time has come to an end. I leave you these instructions and final wishes. First, do with Hotel Z as you see fit. It is yours. If keeping it running would place a burden on your young lives, you may sell it. I only ask that you continue to look after Floette and all those who live in Lumio City. Reminder that I came here on a vacation like 2 weeks ago. Joining of X and Y axes that were never expected to meet. We're also just not addressing the fact that the wild zones are still kind of a fucked up concept, are we? No, I live here now, apparently. So, like, can I just turn this into my personal house? Is that how this works? Like, y'all kind of kidnapped me. I don't have anywhere actually to live. Guess we don't need to worry about turning it into a thriving business. Why? Keeping a building like this in good repair won't be cheap. Yeah, my ZA wish is I want you guys to give me like $1 million a year for the rest of my life. How does that sound? We don't like rich people in this team, right? Alright, fine. We'll play it through to see the wish granted, because I assume that's when the post-game will start. I'll figure it out. Yeah, wait a minute. Hold on a second. We both reached rank A. We both should get a wish. Urbane can use it on whatever stupidity he wants. Oh no, I know what we're going to do. We're gonna wish for everybody's wish to come true. Fucking Disney-ass ending. Urbane, once again, hates rich people. I'm gonna spend my wish on wishing that, Laban would be free. That's what I'm gonna wish for. So that Laban could be a total freak again. I forget what the fucking electric trainer's name even was, but well, your gym has antlers now. Don't worry about it. Why am I running? Why, on the off chance that I hear the legendary... or the shiny chime, of course. Do you actually have your name now? You do. I thought there'd be like a platform here or something. It should have been up to Quasartico to resolve the situation. You guys didn't even fucking try to resolve the situation. You just put a bunch of steel around the tower and just assumed everything would be fine. You guys heard AZ say we need a Mega Evolution user and just, like, left it to AZ to solve everything. I might not have to have kicked your ass, but you were definitely not the good guys in this situation. Yeah, I mean, sure, they couldn't tell the whole city, oh yeah, the tower is going to fucking go crazy, but, I don't know, they could have, like, prepared a plan for what would happen if it did go crazy? A plan beyond just, hope to God AZ figures out the situation? Yeah, alright, we're gonna do the fucking... We wish that everybody's wish could come true. Oh, it's only 10:16. Oh, I thought it was later than that. My wish... My wish is that you guys would fucking stop giving Mabel so much work. The poor woman's gonna be the next one in the ground after AZ. There's a wish nobody would have seen coming. Stop opening new wild areas. Just stop it. We have 20 of them now. That's plenty. Don't you fucking dare make me pick that last one. I will shut this system off. Oh. Alright. More wishes to be granted. Oh, well, AZ also wanted that. This is your green light to push the update to the app. What, is there now a rank beyond A? The infinite Z8. Oh, okay. After each match, ticket points... Okay, so basically every time you get a ticket now... Oop, ads. Every time you get a ticket now, you just fight a randomly generated trainer. And good shit happens. Starting now, we're rivals. I'm gonna wait for the ads to be done to respond to this one. Hold on. People caught in Adland deserve to hear my response to this one. I just need to give my thoughts on the game, too. I'll finish giving them after we complete this cutscene. Because it seems like the point where then, like, the game just veers off into post-game storyline. So you can keep farming the ZA Royale if you want, or you can, like, do, I assume, Urbane's side quest to figure out about his, I assume, missing mother. Missing, probably dead mother. Jet's probably his aunt. That's why Jet was like, oh, that jacket looks familiar. And then, like, if you had the DLC story would start now. I don't have the DLC. Okay, ads are over. Cool. Alright, well, Urbane says starting now we're rivals. And I'm sorry, Urbane, but we've been rivals for about the last 4 story arcs. I punched you in the face after that tower, as far as I'm concerned. Holy Pokemon! Okay, so the game is still like, sorry, gotta do rank ups yet. I don't know, I think maybe we should tear down the tower. You know, instead of leaving its rusted metal husk there to one day fall over. How have I never grabbed the easiest fucking screw in this game? Hold on. There. Don't know how I never succeeded in accomplishing that before. Alright, let's finish that talk we had during the credits before we found out this game is awful. Fucking off-screening AZ. Switch-era Pokemon is now done. Pokopia was a Switch 2 exclusive. Wind and Waves are going to be Switch 2 exclusives. Switch-era Pokemon, done. And like I was saying, I think Switch-era Pokemon is probably best defined by 3 pillars of suck. Which is not to say that these things always suck in Pokemon games. But that generally, every single Switch-era Pokemon game has had a complaint about at least 2 of these 3 things, I feel like. Those being... Well, I guess technically you could say 4, but... Listen. I don't give, like, decks at the time of day, alright? I don't care. Like... I'm more disappointed that Champions doesn't have every Pokemon at launch than I am that Sword and Shield or Scarlet and Violet or ZA didn't have all 1,025 Pokemon or whatever it is. On which note, Gen 10 should make it a nice even 1,051. I don't care if that's a low number of new Pokemon. Deal with it. But I think most of these games have an issue with either the story, the graphics, or... how would I term this last one? I'm gonna just term it performance. Like, I think most Switch-era Pokemon games have issues with those three things. And I'm specifically separating graphics from performance because... I don't think this game looks great. I wouldn't say this game runs well on the Switch. It does run pretty well on Switch 2, though. And that's the thing, like... I think Pokemon games can look good and perform bad, and they can look bad and perform bad. Or they can look good, or they can look okay and perform well. Like, I don't think they're necessarily hand in hand. Also, I think performance is about more than just frame rate. That's why I was like, what do I really want to kind of term this? Because I think performance in particular is more than just the game's frame rate. Like, yeah, frame rate is definitely a useful part of it. But, like... it's also a matter of, you know, does the game play well? Like, you could call it, like, play quality, I guess. If you really wanted to. Like, it's kind of funny that, like, Switch-era Pokemon feels... I think when they announced the return of gyms back in Sword and Shield, I think a lot of people thought that Pokemon's crisis of identity was over. Pokemon, especially in Gen 7, was kind of regarded as having a crisis of identity. That Pokemon didn't know if it wanted to be Pokemon anymore. They were scrapping gyms. It turned out to be the first of many scrappings of battle-based mechanics in getting rid of Megas in favor of Z-moves. Like, in a vacuum, Gen 7 felt like Pokemon was at a crossroads. Man, I can't go hanging out outside here, can I? Hold on. Let's go here, then. I want somewhere where it isn't going to turn into nighttime on me. But yeah, Gen 7... I think after the announcement that gyms were coming back, I think everybody just kind of assumed that, like, alright, that crisis is over. Pokemon knows what it wants to be now, again. I'm stealing your desk for this. And it turns out, I think, Pokemon didn't know what it wants to be. What it wanted to be. It just knew people didn't like Gen 7. And so the immediate reaction was, alright, then let's swing back and reverse the changes of Gen 7. Let's go back to a mechanic that has specific Pokemon exclusivity, that makes underused Pokemon more interesting. Let's go back to gyms, and let's maybe try and experiment in open world gameplay. People generally liked the open world gameplay part, but didn't like some of the other stuff. So what do? Legends Arceus comes out, and they kind of swing the pendulum again. They're like, alright, let's go with battle styles. Strong style, agile style. Let's, you know, go even bigger with the open world. Let's change up Pokemon capture mechanics. And players liked it, but weren't necessarily sold on it being mainline. So they swing the pendulum the other way again on some things in Scarlet and Violet, leaning completely into the open world to their own detriment. going with a mechanic that is just that every single Pokemon can access again, but one that is, you know, more situational than strong and agile styles, where the answer was usually just always use agile style. It was always like, use agile into a strong style, so that you basically get maximum value. So they went with, you know, Terra types and all that. They brought back raid battles, because players like that as an online component. The game, performance-wise, the graphical quality of Sword and Shield and Legends Arceus were both bad. Like, Legends Arceus looks awful. I think we're far enough out now that we can, you know, stop pretending that it was good. It looks awful. It looks as bad as Sword and Shield, maybe worse. So, what do? They swing the pendulum. Now we're back to Megas, because people didn't like Terra types, so now we're just bringing back Megas straight up for ZA and Champions. We're backing off the big open world with a smaller set piece in lower graphical quality compared to Scarlet and Violet, but better overall frame rate performance. Pokemon is continuing to kind of vacillate back and forth very rapidly. Like, even within generations, they are vacillating on various decisions back and forth. The crisis of identity that I think people thought the Switch was going to put an end to hasn't been put an end to. And I think that's one of the first big things that we have to look towards in the Switch 2 era. Obviously, new era. We don't have, you know, the benefit of, like, 5 games to look back on. But, oh, by the way, speaking of vacillation, I didn't even talk about Let's Go and, you know, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, which were their attempt to step back from this more realistic proportion, kind of clay-looking graphical style. And they got panned, so they went back to it. Again, more vacillating. But, like, a lot of people are going to look at Wind and Waves and say, alright, Pokemon has now committed to the identity it wants to have. The Switch, the Gen 7 through 9 era of not being sure what Pokemon wants to be anymore, that crisis of identity, it's over. It's solved. Wind and Waves is the way. And I'm not going to buy that until we get probably to Gen 11. If we get to Gen 11 and we've got, you know, 2, 3, 4 games racked up that feel like they have kind of a similar architecture to them, then maybe I'll say the crisis of identity is over. But until then, Pokemon still has its crisis of identity problem. But yeah, the Pillars of Sun. Got a little off topic there. The Pillars of Sun. I guess I kind of talked about, like, the gameplay feel there. How it's constantly swinging back and forth. Obviously, performance. I personally think it's fair to say the actual raw, like, FPS and, like, non-character model quality has gone down progressively over the course of this game. Over the course of this console generation. Like, I could fire up... I actually could fire up Shield, but I think the locations in Shield, being, you know, isolated towns, have a higher overall quality to them than the entire bulk-loaded Lumio City. Certainly, I think ZA has performed well in the FPS department. I think Scarlet and Violet is going to be regarded as the bottom of the FPS drop. Going from Sword and Shield, which had some definite chug moments, but was overall solid, to Legends Arceus, which had just kind of a general kind of jankiness to it, to Scarlet and Violet, which was actively unplayable, and now we're ticking back up again. We've reached kind of... I think there's kind of this little bit of... I think we've kind of made it back to... There's moments of chug, rather than the whole thing is kind of janky. We're kind of maybe right between Sword and Shield and Legends Arceus in, like, the performance of raw FPS category. But as far as the actual quality of buildings and such, that's still just on a straight downward trend. And one thing that concerns me, even in this Wind and Waves trailer, Game Freak uses very aggressive culling and very aggressive LOD modeling to mask the fact they do not know how to optimize their engine. And I feel like this is a problem that isn't going to get resolved until Game Freak decides to commit to a new engine. And that might be having to commit to, as much as it's a meme in the community, it might be having to commit to making Pokemon games in Unreal Engine. They don't have to be, you know, the Nintendo hire this man kind of Unreal Engine, where it's just a bunch of photorealistic asset flips pasted everywhere. And then, you know, one Pokemon model they ripped out of, like, a Wii game. It can still look like this. But if they're better off using, like, an external engine like Unreal Engine that has publicly accessible documentation and a whole hell of a lot of, like, workers out there in the world who they can hire up, and it's like, we're making a Pokemon game in Unreal Engine. And the workers just nod, and they go, I understand. And they just go to work. They just start working on it. Like, if that's what they have to do to be able to actually optimize a Pokemon game without sacrificing graphical fidelity in the form of culling and LOD models to do it, then maybe that's what they just need to do for the Switch 2 era. Maybe that's why Wind and Waves is taking so long, is it is running in a new engine. That is not the engine that they have been using that they cannot optimize. It might just be an engine that is fundamentally flawed even. That it can't be optimized. But either way, I saw someone earlier today post like a bunch of PS2 screenshots and say that, how dare people say this game looks like a PS2 game? And well, on the one hand, they are correct. Certainly these wall textures, certainly that lamp looks better than a PS2 game. But then I look at the texture quality on Mabel's chair here. Blurry, badly aliased. I think I even see a seam. That might just be a texture error. You can kind of see it where, like, if you really look at it, you can tell how badly aliased that is. That has some sharp edging. Very clear triangles on the chair. But if you see kind of where, like, the backrest is, at the left, as you're looking at it, and the side kind of right in line with my shoulder, there's a little texture fuckery there. I don't think it's a seam, though. I think it's just texture fuckery. Like, there are some textures here that do look like they come from a PS2 game. And one of the examples they posted was KH2. Like, KH2 has that same kind of clay feeling, flat-faced, you know, generally kind of simplistic field texturing that this game feels graphically like an upgrade on KH2. Like a slightly higher resolution KH2. And I'm not saying I need Pokemon to look like KH3 even. But, you know, could we get buildings that actually have 3D modeled windows on them? Like, actually, let me just see something here. I am probably going to split this talk, by the way, out into its own video. Separate from the stream. I can't tell if this... I think this window's, yeah, grills are 3D modeled. At least on the interior side. Yeah, they are. You can tell if you... I'm actually using my second screen here as well. You can tell if you look at where the grills connect with the sill. You can tell I sell windows for a living. You can tell that there's little bumping out there. Yeah, these windows are 3D modeled. Like, they don't have to be, like, super fancy, like, models, but... I could also just do this. Yeah, see that? These are 3D modeled. Like, if all the windows in Lumiose just looked like this, then, you know, you could argue that, like, the 3D modeling is a little bit better. But, you know, with, like, obvious 3D texturing on the windows. Maybe some 3D trimming around them. You know, if they have, you know, those little, I don't know what you call those little, like, iron fences outside the windows. If those were, like, 3D modeled, maybe you had some, like, generic plants growing in a few of them. Maybe a Pokemon doing a little dance. Like, you could make the city feel a lot more alive. Just from that alone would make this feel a lot less like a PS2 game and more like something that deserves to be called a game releasing in the year of our year 2025. This came out in 25, right? I think so. Like, it's little things like that. They don't need to completely overhaul the graphics, but they need to be able to optimize better and do more graphically as a result of being able to optimize. For instance, your eyes are generally pasted on, and your hair is generally a solid lump. The hair I'm willing to forgive. I play a lot of games that have to optimize hair because hair is a complicated thing, you know? And to a certain extent, maybe this kind of clay-like aesthetic is what Pokemon is going for. Maybe they feel like it gives them a little bit of that old Sugimori art vibe, which was kind of very blocky and clayey. And that's fine. But I feel like you could do better than painted on eyes, you know? Give the player models a little more definition. Like, I'm pretty sure the ears are entirely just like, well, not entirely, but they're like an oval that they paint the ear features on. Like, you could go ahead and actually model the interior of an ear. Or you could go ahead and actually give the eyes a little bit of ridging around them. Or, you know, a mouth that actually has definition. It's definitely 3D modeled. Actually, hold on. I can probably just do this. Let's get an oh, that's not gonna help. Like, for instance, Mabel's mouth has a lot more... I just noticed Mabel's mouth has a lot more definition. Her eyes have a lot more definition. If you add a little bit more 3D effect to them, to help to really kind of sell that, if you make the blinking more of an actual blink animation instead of just a texture that moves up and down, you can probably make models that still have that clay anime aesthetic while looking a lot better. Yeah, there we go. Like, I'm pretty sure the mouth is 3D modeled, but it definitely doesn't look good. Like, yeah, that's 3D modeled, alright. Very roughly 3D modeled. There's no, like... Whoa! What the hell happened there? My Switch... Oh, I caught the desk light. Like... Obviously, the inside of a mouth doesn't need to look that good, but, like, you can do better than, like, 2 white bars and a... I'm not even sure if that tongue is modeled, honestly. I guess those eyes do have a little bit of 3D definition if you really zoom in on them. But I feel like they can do better. Like, there's no definition around the eyes at all. The nose is barely there. Like, you can do better. The ear, yeah, I'm pretty sure that is just painted on. Like, you can do better, you know? And I mean, I'm always a sucker for customization. I've said it so many times in this playthrough that, like, I'm mad. I say it every so often when fighting either against or alongside somebody. I'm mad about animations in Pokemon games again. Like, Why do I have to animate like I'm the fucking Gen 1 protagonist? Just, like, standing there in generic, like, ready to dash pose? Why do I have the generic fucking bracelet that weighs 10 pounds for my Megastone? Why is it that my outfit options are so incredibly limited I made, like, 2 functional outfits in this game? Like, let me customize my damn trainer. Why are there not body types in this game? Why do you have to always look and have the exact same silhouette, other than picking a gender, you know? Like, there's so much more they can do there as well. That feels like it's limited by probably performance issues somewhere along the line. That they don't want to have to rig, you know, a universal player skeleton, which is what most modern games are doing now. I like to come back to it because World of Warcraft is a game that released in 2004, running on an engine from like 2001. They have been using a universal player skeleton since like 2018. Almost a decade ago now. They have been using a universal player skeleton. Which means the stuff on top of the model can change. Different races, different builds, different body types, different genders. But the underlying skeleton is largely the same. Animations can be reused and recycled easily. Final Fantasy XIV uses, except for, I believe, only Lalafels, a universal player skeleton. That is why it is incredibly easy for them to pump out emotes. Because they design it for one race, and every race, every body type, every race, every size, every gender can use it. I am not convinced that Pokemon uses a universal skeleton system. And that's why they limit you from being able to customize your character. Because they don't want to have to program, you know, 50 different ball throw animations. They don't want to have to design, you know, different animation sets for if you're playing a tall character, or a short character, or a wide character. It's, in the end, I think it's just something they don't really invest in. I think they should. And then we loop around to the most difficult one to discuss. Story quality. If I talked about, like, the general performance feel of these games vacillating back and forth over the Switch era, the story quality has also vacillated so wildly, even within titles. Like, I think everyone will agree, Sword and Shield's story sucked. I don't think anyone is going to come out to defend Sword and Shield's story. Even, like, I think it's been long enough. There are people willing to defend Lysander. I'm gonna say it. I believe there are people out there willing to defend Lysander, the guy who has been lambasted by ProZD for years as Lysanderoth, as the caricature of the most obvious twist villain imaginable. There are people out there willing to defend him. Like, there's nobody, I don't care, 10, 15, 20 years from now, nobody is going to come out of their way to defend Chairman Rose as a villain. They are still going to say the same things then that they said now. This guy is an idiot. You find out one day that there is a disaster that might befall your region, potentially centuries or millennia from now, and you decide to just cause it now so that you can be the hero and save it. Like, there's no redeeming that story. Oh, I'm sorry, you want to talk about the post-game story? Alright, we'll talk about the post-game story. Swordbert and Shieldbert are jokes. They are joke characters. Talk about the DLC? Alright. There's no villain in the DLC. I guess you could say, like, Clara or, I don't know, whatever the fuck his name was. Oswald or something, the psychic guy. You could say they're rival characters. They suck. They're boring. I think I preferred Hop. And that's saying something. I mean, Hop was at least a more interesting version of, I can't even remember his name in Gen 7. That's how, like, pointless of a character he was. Bene was at least a cool rival, as well. Like, I say the story of Sword and Shield sucks, and now I'm going to go on and say, well, this was a cool character, and this was a cool character. Leon was a cool champion. He's one of the few... One thing I'll give the Switch era credit for is at least their final fights have generally been difficult. ZA not being included in that, but I think that's more a factor of, I think I just kind of found some cheese with Frostlass that I don't think they intended. Like, I mean, a number of the gym leaders were interesting in Sword and Shield. I'd say your friend group in Scarlet and Violet were interesting. I'd say a lot of the Galaxy Team characters were interesting. A lot of the, like, Diamond and Pearl Clan characters were interesting. I'd say, barring Urbane, I think most of the high-level trainers in this game were interesting. I think Mabel was interesting. Grisham, Grizel, both interesting. Gwyn was interesting. Kanari was interesting. Corbeau and Philip were interesting. Like, Lita and Naveen were interesting. Vinny wasn't... Like, there's... I think the biggest thing with story, the one thing that Pokemon has been very good at is making characters. Time are we at here? Alright. Just want to check in, because folks want to play Peak here in a bit, so I gotta wrap this up. Not immediately, but with relative speed. Pokemon is very good at making characters. This has been proven throughout the Switch era. They are very good at making characters. The problem is they are very bad at using characters. And they are very bad at writing stories. Sword and Shield story is bad. Legends Arceus' story is passable for the base game. You get to the post-game stuff with, fuck, what was the vendor guy? Ancestor of Cynthia? Whatever. You know who I'm talking about. His whole, you know, Rage Against God arc. Fucking cool. That's probably the highlighted... Well, probably the second biggest highlight of story in the Switch era for Pokemon. Scarlet and Violet story generally sucked. It was even actively problematic at some points. And then, you know, you get to the final, like, 10% in The Way Home, and suddenly it's the best story Game Freak has put out in the Switch era. And then you get to this game and the story is absolutely awful. I cannot defend this story whatsoever. Like, it starts on such a hilariously awkward note with the, like, you're coming here on vacation, your bag gets stolen, and suddenly you are, like, press-ganged into this Battle Royale tournament to save the city. It's fucking stupid. It starts fucking stupid, then nothing happens for, like, 40% of the game's runtime before you're introduced to these characters that are much more interesting than your own friends, mostly. Urbane becomes the, like... I did kind of... A friend of mine, we've been playing through... A friend group of mine, we've been playing through Danganronpa for the first time for me. Because 2x2 is coming out this year. And we've been, you know, voice acting the characters. Doing a little bit of ad-libbing, you know... Kind of like a mini fan dub kind of deal, not to be released on the internet, just for our own sake. Like, every time I voice Urbane dialogue, I use one of my friends' voices that they used for Nagito. And it is amazing how much Urbane / Tawny is just Nagito. Like, they so badly want to be the protagonist, and they so badly are just fucking with everybody along the way. Like, oh, got myself in debt to the Mafia and they're coming after you guys for repayment? Sorry, I'm gonna fuck off and go play bodyguard for Quasartico for this arc. You guys can deal with it. Oh, I'm so obsessed with being the hero that I decided to piss off the richest person in the city and almost get Hotel Z bought out from under us? Literally had the land already bought out from under us? Yeah, I'm not going to, say I'm sorry. I'm not going to, be like, man, I really fucked up. The narrative is not even going to itself kind of pressure me and be like, Urbane's kind of a self-centered jerk. I reach rank A, the fucking flower goes wild and the city's in danger? Hold up, everybody. We gotta have a Pokemon battle to decide which one of us is actually the best trainer. And I lost, but I'm still going to self-anoint myself the savior of the city. And the narrative is not even going to question me on that. The narrative is going to force you to actively agree with my protagonist-chasing tendencies. I will now reveal that I have heard that I don't know exactly how it comes to be, but that apparently at the end of the post-game storyline, Urbane fucking inherits Quasartico Inc. itself. The narrative not only refuses to challenge his bad friend protagonist-chasing behavior, it rewards him for it at every possible turn. And then, as if all of this is not bad enough, the game just fucking off-screens AZ after giving him a perfect scene where they could have just had him dissipate into sparkles or something and been like, you have clearly seen AZ is dead, now we will fade out and fade in on his grave. No, they don't even give you that. They just fade out and fade in on his grave as a post-credits scene. This game has one of the most nonsensical and annoying stories that Pokemon has ever had. At least in the past, games with bad story have been boring. They just haven't had a story. You have the highs of games like Gen 5 and the original Gen 7 games before they ruined it with Ultra. You have The Way Home, which is another absolute peak, coming at the final 10% of an otherwise mid-game. Dragged down to bad by its graphical performance. Like, those are the highs. Then you have, the lows. It's, it's mid. It's boring. There's not really a story here. It's just an excuse plot. Stuff like Gens 1, 2... I'd kind of say original 3, or as kind of gussied it up a bit. 6, honestly, kind of just an excuse plot. Like, they've never had a game that has been truly just nonsense, and this game was truly nonsense. Badly written nonsense. Game Freak is great at making characters. But whoever is doing the actual, arc writing at Game Freak needs to be fired. And I'm just going to say it. Point blank. Character designers, character writers, they can stay. But whoever writes the overall meta-narratives of these games needs to go. These games need to have stories that actually hit their stride before, the final 25% rush. Or even the post-game. Scarlet and Violet didn't hit its stride till, depending on what you think of, Penny's story arc, the final 25 or maybe even 10%. Sword and Shield never hit its stride. Legends Arceus doesn't hit its stride until basically, the final, maybe 15% of the main story and then post-game. ZA doesn't even begin to hit its character stride even until about the 40% mark. The pacing is awful, and oftentimes when the story finally hits its stride, it is not done cleanly. Like, those are your three big pillars of kind of suck. The overall kind of performance quality, the actual graphics, and the story. Those are the three things that I want to... That these games always come... They always manage to mess up like two of them, but one of them they get really good. And sometimes not even for the whole game. Like, I said it after Scarlet and Violet, what I wanted to see, and I said it at the start of this game, what I want to see is I want to see consistency. I want to see a game that is consistently even just an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10 from the opening press A to the closing thin. I want to see consistency, and I have not gotten that in the Switch era. My stance on Wind and Waves is I am not pre-ordering Wind and Waves. I am not streaming Wind and Waves at release. I am going to probably wait. I'll probably play something. I'll probably be either in the middle of something or starting something when Wind and Waves comes out next year. And I'm going to wait until that game is done. And I'm going to wait to see what is the community perception. Is this another game of half-fulfilled promises? Is this another bad game? Does it perform like shit? Or is this finally Game Freak managing to put all of the pieces together? The story quality of The Way Home. The graphical fidelity that doesn't look bad. Like, looks better than this game. Performance that actually performs well, like this game, or Sword and Shield, without an aggressive over-reliance on culling and LOD models. Gameplay that is fun. A story that isn't complete nonsense or non-existent. Like, I'm gonna wait to see what the community's consensus is before I decide if I'm going to spend money on and stream Wind and Waves. Game Freak has not earned my trust anymore. They deliver half-baked products consistently. And I'm not going to buy and stream another half-baked Game Freak product. I'll play something else. I'll play a game like Pokopia, where it feels like there's actual, like, intention and effort and care put into it to make a complete package. And I think more people need to be willing to say, Pokemon is not a pre-order game. It's not a day one buy. It's a wait and see. Especially if, as it sure as hell seems, Nintendo is preparing to announce a price increase for physical copies. And making $70 digitals the new baseline. Your money is valuable. Don't spend it on half-baked games from a company known for putting out half-baked games just because it's an IP that was, you know, incredibly famous in your childhood. I was one of the Pokemon generation kids. Pokemania. We link traded on the playground. We got Pokemon cards banned from the school because kids would steal them from each other. Like, I'm from that era. I understand that Pokemon has and always will have a special place in the story of my life. But we also have to acknowledge that Pokemon isn't worth the price right now. And until Game Freak shows us that, we have to act accordingly. Pokemon needs to find its way again. Like one of its old competitors, Digimon, had to find its way as well. There was an era where Digimon basically went on ice. They took like 6 years off from the anime. They took like 5 years off from the games. They said, this isn't selling. People aren't buying. We need to step back and rediscover the magic. And you know what happened when they stepped back and rediscovered the magic? Cyber Sleuth, Hacker's Memory, Ghost Game, Beat Break, Time Stranger. Also, I guess Survive is in there too, but that one was a bit of a misstep. A little too ambitious there. Like, Pokemon needs a similar arc. They need to step back and acknowledge we need to rediscover the magic. Because putting out half-baked games is just going to slowly drift this franchise into oblivion. That's my take on the Switch era of Pokemon. I'm gonna get out of here and play some Peak. Because it's almost peak o'clock time. New update came out today. So, with that, I don't know what we'll be playing next week, Monday. We'll get to it, but I will be back on Wednesday for more randomizer stuff, and Friday for more Time Stranger. So, till then, bye!